Hare Krishna, and welcome to this new episode of Bhagavatam for the independently thoughtful. So Prabhupada's desire was the devotees of ISKCON become independently thoughtful, meaning self-sufficiently apply the philosophy, becoming Shastra Chakshus, seeing things through Shastra. And of course, Shastra says so many things because they illuminate the different ages, and we need to be independently thoughtful to see how to apply eternal principle to specific situations which are bound by time, place, and circumstances. And of course, independently thoughtful does not mean to be independent from sadhu, shastra, and guru, but it means to being qualified cooperators, collaborators to the spiritual masters, to the sadhus, and to the scriptural revelations, so that we can be qualified to be spokesperson in an intelligent way. Intelligent means discriminating how to apply things properly. So today so good morning, thank you for the message. And today we continue with our chapter 4. Let me share the screen. So this is a description of Hiranyakashipu, how it was dominating the universe, and all the devatas, besides, of course, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, they were under his control, and they were serving him, and he was even rebuking him sometimes without even any reason, not just to show off, or just to dominate them, just to control them and hurt them. Now, at the same time, let's remember the Bhagavatam is playing. He was not happy because he was envious of God, envious of Vishnu. So that was like a cancer in his heart. And obviously, he was also still repenting or having resentment for the death of his brother, Hiranyakashipu. So text 20. Evam Aishvarya Matasya Dhriptasya Chastra Vartinaha Kalumahon Vyatiyaya Brahmashapam Upeyushaha. Translation: Hiranyakashipu thus passed a long time being very much proud of his opulences and transgressing the laws and regulations mentioned in the authoritative Shastra. He was therefore subjected to a curse by the 4 Kumaras, who were great Brahmanas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There have been many instances in which demons, after achieving material opulences, have become extremely proud, so much so that they have transgressed the laws and regulations given in the authoritative Shastras. Hiranyakashipu acted in this way, as said in Bhagavad Gita 16:23. Yashastra vidimutstrija vartante kamakarataha siddhim avabnoti na sukham na param gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. Unquote. The word Shastra refers to that which controls our activities. We cannot violate or transgress the laws and regulatory principles mentioned in the Shastra. Bhagavad Gita repeatedly confirms this. Asmat Shastra Pramanam Te Karyakara Vivastito Gyatva Shastra Vidanoktam Karma Kartum Iharasi. Quote, one should understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated.
I need to put the notifications. Okay.
This is the next verse, 16:24, Bhagavad Gita. One should act according to the direction of the Shastras, but the material energy is so powerful that as soon as one becomes materially opulent, he begins to transgress the Shastric laws. As soon as one transgresses the laws of Shastra, he immediately enters upon the path of destruction. Okay, so this is an important point, and it's a central point for the life of civilized human beings, but to speak of Vaishnavas. Shastra is the center. I mean, even when we talk about Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, Shastra is the center. At the same time, there is a vast spread of Shastra with different relative values. Some, for instance, are Shastra, we could say, so to speak, in name only, like, say, for instance, Chanakya Pandit wrote this book, Niti Shastra, which are very useful moral rules and codes. At the same time, he is not a self-realized soul. Srila Prabhupada defined him as a worldly man. Srila Prabhupada said he is not a spiritual authority, an authority in the spiritual sense. Of course, Chanakya Pandit, I mean, I wish it would be a dream if all the politicians and rulers of the world would be like Chanakya Pandit. The world would change overnight into almost a paradise. At the same time, we can't compare, again, a code, a collection of moral, political, economic laws, although God conscious to some extent, but to say very, very elevated Bhakti Shastras like Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or the Bhagavad Gita itself. So, personally, I've seen sometimes devotees get confused or even misuse the authority of Shastra because they just say Shastra, any Shastra is the same. It's not the same. Like, for instance, Manu Samhita. First of all, of course, we could give the whole class on this, but just to give an idea, Manu Samhita, Srila Prabhupada did say that it's a law of humanity. But then the question is, okay, which humanity? First of all, do we have the Manu Samhita, original Manu Samhita? Some scholars say that of the present version, less than half are the original texts. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, in the introduction to his Krishna Samhita, he says that originally the Brahma Samhita, the Manu Samhita was Manu Samhita or Manu Smriti, is often known as Manu Smriti, was intended to present Daiva Varnashra, meaning that people can become anything depending on their nature, on their karma, and then their gunas. But the present Manu Samhita is strictly according to caste system by birth. So, in fact, Srila Prabhupada told the devotee who wanted some ritual from the Manu Samhita, said, look, if you start touching Manu Samhita, you become again a Melecha in Yavan. And that was not just a general warning. According to Manu Samhita, unless you are a Brahmana born from a virgin mother and so on and so forth, you cannot even touch the Manu Samhita.
And a man.
You cannot really touch you cannot touch the Manu Samhita. So anyway, I'm open, of course, of questions or even concerns or challenges, of course. But when we say Shastra, we need to understand there is a gradation of Shastra. Not all Shastras are the same level of authority of importance for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Are we on YouTube or live? Can you check?
Yeah.
Okay. But this point remains. Shastra. But by the way,
Sujata, I'm tired to challenge. Okay, that's a special day. I'm astrological.
Well, I mean, you don't have to challenge necessarily. You can ask questions to clarify. So my point is this. What Shastra means? Srila Prabhupada very often explains the Shastra comes from Shash Dhatu. That's the root of the word. Shash means to control. That's the verbal root, to control. And so you have Shastra or Shastra. Shastra is meaning weapons, because they are instruments of controlling others. And Shastra means scripture because they're meant to discipline others. Also, the word shisha, disciple, comes from the same root, shash, because the shisha, the disciple, accepts the discipline of the guru. Disciple means I accept you, dear spiritual master, as my guide, and I will live according to your direction and instructions. So Shastra, Shisha, they all come. At the same time, there are some Shastra who are revealing the highest path, the highest perfection, like Bhagavatam, and other Shastra which are meant, say, no, Shiva Purana, Skanda Purana, they're meant more for people in Tamaguna, so they may not reveal so directly, so clearly, so specifically, so forcefully the devotional service of the Lord. That's why the Bhagavatam say, Tat Shaddadana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya.
Sorry.
You can answer. So this verse comes after the famous verse that says that the absolute truth, which is non-dual in nature, is realized as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And then the next verse says, who realized this absolute truth? Tat Shaddadana Munayo, the faithful disciple, the thoughtful disciple, I would say, independently thoughtful disciple, Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya, who is equipped by knowledge and detachment. Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam, he starts seeing the super soul active everywhere. He starts seeing, not in a with the eyes of knowledge, he sees the super soul acting everywhere. He sees God acting everywhere through his creation, through other people, and so on. And the last line is Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya means Bhaktya Shruta, the Shruti, the Smriti that talk about Bhakti, because not all Shastra talk about Bhakti. Okay. Should we go to the next verse?
Yeah.
Want to screen share?
Yeah.
Okay. Text 21. Want to read?
Tasyogradanda samvigna sarve lokasapa lakha anyatra labda sharana sharanam yayurachu achyutam. Everyone, including the rulers of the various planets, was extremely distressed because of the severe punishment inflicted upon them by Hiranyakashipu. Fearful and disturbed, unable to find any other shelter, they at last surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Isn't that also our situation? We try so many ways. We try to go and knock on the neighbor's door for shelter, go and knock on somebody, a relative's door, this, that, and try this, some temple president, try the chief minister, prime minister, and then everything else fails, and then we go to Krishna.
Everyone is different. Everybody gets to the right conclusion first or late, before or sooner or later, or maybe not in this life. There different people have different capacities of taking shelter immediately in the ultimate source.
Everyone, that is purpose. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shantim ricchati. The sage who knows me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is actually the best friend of everyone. In a condition of distress or misery, one wants to seek shelter of a well-wishing friend. The well-wishing friend of the perfect order is Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, all the inhabitants of the various planets, being unable to find any other shelter, were obliged to seek shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Friend. If from the very beginning we seek shelter of the Supreme Friend, there would be no cause of danger. It is said that if the dog is swimming in the water and one wants to cross the ocean by catching hold of the dog's tail, certainly he is foolish. Similarly, if in distress one seeks shelter of a demigod, he is foolish, for his efforts will be fruitless. In all circumstances, one should seek shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then there will be no danger under any circumstances. I mean, sometimes we don't even seek shelter of demigod, we seek shelter of husband or friend or something like that, and it's very foolish of us, right?
Actually, this is one of the first teaching of Shukadeva Goswami in the second canto. He says that at deha patya kala tridishu
atma sannivesha sasapi tesham pramatto vidhanam pasyannapi na pashyati.
So persons devoid of Atma Tattva, meaning devoid of self-realization, do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers, like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. It's the famous line, Pashan api na pashyati. Pashan api, although they have seen, that should probably translate having sufficiently experienced life. Pashanapi, although having seen, na pashyati, they don't really see what's going on. And this other famous expression, atmasaneshu asatsu, meaning fallible soldiers. Fallible because, if you're surrounded by guards who are useless, they can't defend you. If you are a bunch of soldiers who are totally useless, untrained, lack of courage, completely cowardly, what's the use? There could be 10,000, but they can't defend certainly the country. Okay, so this is one of the first teachings, actually the fourth verse of the second canto. Do we have some question?
Comment. I understand seeking shelter of another human being is ultimately not long-term beneficial. However, a partner can help to be a refuge to help you get on your way to spirituality, especially if they are the exact opposite to usual male energy found out in the world. Yeah, the point is to not depend on that, because some people have karma for that kind of partner and some don't have. But without having that support doesn't mean we can't progress spiritually, and to not depend on our shelter on a bag of bones. Yeah, men have their own limitations.
Can we continue?
Okay. Where did I finish? The next verse.
Are you sure you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we take shelter of Krishna, there will be no danger. I think the men who are real like honest and they accept their mistakes, they are more reliable in the sense, at least than those who deny and they say we are always right, the woman is always wrong, women are like this. Those kind of men are the difficult ones that we can't rely on, because they crush the enthusiasm. Like, Concept often says, protecting a woman is not that you put her in a room and lock her up. That's not protection. Protecting a woman means protecting her enthusiasm. Unfortunately, not all men know that. Tasyai namostu kashtayai yatratma haririshvara yadgatva nivartante shanto sanyasino mala iti te samyatatmana samahita diyo mala upatasturvishikesham vinidravāyu bhojana. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto that direction where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated, where those purified souls in the renounced order of life, the great saintly persons, go, and from which, having gone, they never return, without sleep, fully controlling their minds and living on only their breath. The predominating deities of the various planets began worshipping Hirishikesha with this meditation. Purport. The two words Tasyai Kastayai are very significant. How's it Kashtayai, right? Everywhere, in every direction, in every heart, and in every atom, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in his features as Brahman and Paramatma. Then what is the purpose of saying Tasya Kashtayai? In that direction where Hari is situated, during Hiranyakashipu's time, his influence was everywhere, but he could not force his influence into the places where the Supreme Personality of Godhead had his pastimes. For example, on this earth, there are such places as Vrindavan and Ayodhya, which are called Dhamas. In the Dhama, there is no influence from Kali Yuga or any demon. If one takes shelter of such Dham, worship of the Lord becomes very easy and results in spiritual advancement quickly takes place. In fact, in India, one may still go to Vrindavan and similar places to achieve the results of spiritual activities quickly. Really? In Dham, there is no Kali Yuga?
Well, in the real Dham, there is no Kali Yuga. Obviously, we have to define Dham. The Dham is not visible. There is a veneer of Prakriti covering the vision of the Dham. So obviously, we see so many sinful activities, so many adharmic activity, often, especially in the Dham. Yeah. Like, for instance, Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada explains, see, especially Western devotees, or even Indian devotees, know Vrindavan through Srila Prabhupada, through Krishna book, so they know. At the same time, at the time of Srila Prabhupada, Vrindavan had a very, very bad reputation.
Right.
Srila Prabhupada said a gentleman would never bring the daughter to Vrindavan because it was a place of, and to some extent it's still, but it was a place of debauchery. Many people will go there, like unchaste women wanted to have a son from a quote unquote sadhu, so they will remain pregnant. And the so-called Babajis, they will just create this type of trouble, to the point that the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, made the drastic, draconian, and wrong decision to sterilize all the sadhus living in Vrindavan. She sent the police, and she took all the sadhus and Babaji and forced to sterilize them. So
sterilize means cutting off their. What does sterilize mean?
Sterilize means making them incapable of reproducing. You interrupt a certain canal in the genitals. You don't have to castrate them. You interrupt a certain canal so that they cannot reproduce anymore. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada always speaks badly of the Babajis. The only time he says something which is not negative, as far as I know, is that Indira Gandhi made an offense by doing that, because
how can you do that?
Many people, some of them, many of them, I don't know percentage, might have been genuine sadhus, not doing anything wrong, but she kind of forced that. And then she Prabhupada explained, she fell down from her position. She lost her prime ministership due to this offense to the sadhus in Vrindavan. But the point is that besides the reaction of the prime minister, the problem was so big that the prime minister of the largest democracy in the world had to somehow intervene personally and decide we had to stop this thing because it's intolerable. So, but that's, again, it's in the veneer of the Dham. It's just the Prakritic covering of the Dham. Yeah, there you can find a lot of Kali Yuga. I mean, Kadamba Kana Maharaj, when he was not yet Maharaj, but he was temple president in Dham, and somebody shot him to kill him just because he was being troublesome to certain business, local business, meaning land, mafia, local mafia. They just shot him, almost killed him. Krishna saved him. So yeah, so there's a lot of Kali Yuga in the veneer of the Dham.
She's saying that Sujata is saying Indira Gandhi, she sterilized many during the emergency. It was terrible to curb population growth. pseudo Chinese strategy like one child strategy.
I was talking about something different. Yes, Sri Prabhupada also spoke against the concept of overpopulation, but this was specifically because many people were misusing their position in the Dham, the situation in the Dham for doing very sinful activities. So those policies, we could talk about them, but that we were specifically talking about the Dham.
Rukmini Priya Mataji, are you in India? Welcome.
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes we are.
So nice to have you join us.
Nice to join live Mataji.
So Mataji has been watching the YouTube videos. She lives in US, but she's now in India, so she has joined us.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavats.
Okay, so next verse. Tesham avirabhudavani arupa meghani swana sanadayanti kakubha sadhunam abhayankari. Then there appeared before them a transcendental sound vibration emanating from a personality not visible to material eyes. The voice was as grave as the sound of a cloud, and it was very encouraging, driving away all fear.
What was that one? Can you?
24, 7, 4, 24.
Okay. Okay.
Ma bhaishta vibudha shreshta sarvesham bhadramastu va matdarshanam hi bhutanam sarva shreyopa pate shreyo
Papattaye.
papattaye jnanam etasya durat
Gyatam etasya dhauratmyam daitya pasudasya yat tasya shantim karishani kalam tavat pratikshata.
The voice of the Lord vibrated as follows. O best of learned persons, do not fear. I wish. You cannot see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see Mataji. If you flip your phone, you can read it fully.
Ah, okay. Thank you. All right. I wish all good fortune to you. Become my devotee by hearing and chanting about me and offering me prayers. For these are certainly meant to award benedictions to all living entities. I know all about the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. Please wait patiently until that time. Purport. Sometimes people are very much eager to see God. In considering the word Mat Darshanam, seeing me, which is mentioned in this verse, one should note that in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. In other words, the ability to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to see Him, or talk with Him depends on one's advancement in devotional service, which is called Bhakti. In Bhakti, there are 9 different activities. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Because all these devotional services, activities are absolute, there's no fundamental difference between worshipping the deity in the temple, seeing him, and chanting his glories. Indeed, all of these are ways of seeing him, for everything done in devotional service is a means of direct contact with the Lord. The vibration of the Lord's voice appeared in the presence of all the devotees, and although the person vibrating the sound was unseen to them, they were meeting or seeing the Lord because they were offering prayers and because the vibration of the Lord was present. Contrary to the laws of the material world, there's no difference between seeing the Lord, offering prayers, and hearing the transcendental vibration. Pure devotees, therefore, are fully satisfied by glorifying the Lord. Such glorification is called kirtana. Performing kirtana and hearing the vibration of the sound Hare Krishna is actually seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. One must realize this position, and then one will be able to understand the absolute nature of the Lord's activities.
This is an important point because even linguistically, this seeing in Bhagavad Gita, for instance, is often use the word see to mean understanding, grasp, appreciate. And sometimes this may confuse devotees. Like, for instance, Krishna says one should accept the guru who is tattva darshina. The gurus should be tattva darshina. They should have seen the truth. Now, Srila Prabhupada explained that seeing the truth means to see the truth through the Shastra. In other words, understanding the categorical truths. The guru should know Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, Chit, Achit, Ishvara. He should know the philosophy, in other words. And so he should see the truth, Tattva's categorical truths of existence through the Vedic revelation. It does not mean that the guru is not qualified if he doesn't see Krishna face to face in the bushes of Vrindavan. And this time I see this is a very common confusion that devotees make, because yes, you have to see the truth, but what does it mean seeing the truth? It doesn't mean seeing face to face, as say the gopis or Nanda Maharaj or Yashoda see Krishna face to face. Because all devotees see Krishna face to face in the form of the deities. They understand this is Krishna, this is Radha Madhava, this is not some stone or some marble statue. These are the Supreme Lord and His eternal.
Playing from 1+025G.
So this is important. Seeing means many things, even in English. When you speak, we say you see. Doesn't mean you see, you put something in front of the eyes. You see means you understand. Is it clear? You grasp this idea. Or when you say in English another word, look. Sometimes we start the sentence, look. But it is not a physical look. You're not saying look, meaning bring your eyes to see a certain object. It means look, meaning bring your focus, bring your understanding, bring your attention. So in Sanskrit, it's the same. Looking, seeing. It's
see my perspective.
Yes, you see darshan. That here it says, what's the word used here? Madarshanam. Yeah. So this is an important thing. Otherwise, you may get confused and say, "Oh, does my guru see Krishna face to face?" No, it's like he always see Krishna sitting in a corner of his room and he speaks with Krishna, a person. That's not, of course, some guru may do. But that's not the basic requirements of the guru.
Hey, that's my favorite story Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji had shared one time when Ramanujacharya knew somebody who used to see Krishna dancing. You know that story, right?
Which one?
One time there was a guy who would see Krishna dancing. Krishna would come and dance in front of him during the time of Ramanujacharya. So then Ramanujacharya told him to go and ask that he told this devotee, go and ask Krishna, when will I go back to him? When will I get liberated? And the devotee went and said, when does Ramanujacharya get liberated? When will he come to you? And Krishna told him, oh, this very life you will come to me. And then he went back and told Ramanuja that. And Ramanuja said, no, I didn't ask about me. I asked you to ask, what about you? When will you go? Then he went back next day and he asked dancing Krishna, when will I come to you? When will be my liberation? Krishna said, oh, you have long time to go.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So the point is not seeing Krishna face to face as if like by Hiranyakashipu getting the favor of Brahma, right? He came face to face and he gave him a benediction. But that doesn't mean that conquering of the heart. It just means conquering of your favor, right? Can I have some? Yeah. Yada deveshu vedeshu goshu vipreshu sadhushu dharme mai cha vidvesha sava ashu vinashyati. What's the difference between Sha and Sha here?
Yeah.
This is Vidveshaha, right? Vidvesha. And this is Vinashyati, right? How do you, let me see in Sanskrit. This is Shu, Vedeshu. And this is Vinashyati. What's Shu and Sha?
It's a different S.
Oh, it's the Shyam.
It's like
Shyam.
one is
Yeah.
Krishna and one is Shyam.
Krishna and Shyam. Yeah, this is Shyam and this is Krishna. Okay. Krishna.
The three S, right? And then there's a plain like sadhu su, sadhu shu, sadhu, sa is the plain S. Up, sadhu su, that's the first one, is the plain S. Sadhu shu, sa,
Sadhu Shu. It says here Shu.
no, the first syllable should have the sa, sadhu shu.
Oh, Sadhu. Yes.
Yeah, so there are three S in Sanskrit.
Yeah. Sa, Sha, and Sa,
They're right there. Sa,
Sa,
sh, and sh.
Sha.
Well, you should be more expert than me.
I know. When I read in Hindi or Sanskrit, it's clearer to me. In English, I'm trying to understand.
So one is the S of sadhu. One is the S of Krishna, and one is the S of Sham.
See here, look here. This is Sadhu Shu, right? Shu. See, Shu.
Yes,
And this is Sha. Shu, Sha.
and Sa.
Yeah, Sa is very clear, no doubts.
Okay.
But I'm trying to understand in English. This is easy for me to read. But when I read this in English, I'm
We
trying
could
to
go at the
understand.
glossary. I think one is
Dot.
called
Sha
sibilant.
and Sha.
Anyway, we
Sha
could
and Sha.
Sanskrit. We
Sha.
could one I think
And
is called sibilant, and one is called a different way. We could check. There
One
are
is
two
Sha
comments.
and then the other is Sha.
There is a
Sha and Sha. Glossary.
there are comments.
Yeah, he's my guru.
Ah,
Diksha guru.
Hare Krishna.
Diksha guru.
So here, look, here I have this is from some
Sanskrit
Sanskrit
guide.
pronunciation guide. There it says S like in S, the normal S without diacritics, as in seek
Sat.
or sight.
Seek, sight.
S with sham, as in shine or shower.
Yeah.
Shine, shower. The S with the dot underneath, the S of Krishna, is pronounced like S of shine and shower, except that the tip of the tongue is bent slightly back towards the roof of the mouth, like in assure. Assure. So it's more palatable, not palatable, palatal.
Shine. Shine is not going, the tongue is not going up. Thank you. That's helpful. I always get confused.
Sure. Yes. So and we'll find a BBT
So this is
pronunciation
sure.
guide.
Vinashyati. Vedeshu. Vinashyati. Vedeshu. Vinashyati. Okay. Oh, they have two sha in Gujarati also. Sha like Shan and then assure. Vedeshu. Vinashyati. Okay, good. It's good to have in one shloka both the letters, all the three letters. When one is envious of the demigods who represent the Supreme Personality of Godhead of the Vedas, which give all knowledge of the cows, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and religious principles, and ultimately of me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he and his civilization will be vanquished without delay. Nirvairaya prashantaya swasutaya mahatmane prahradaya yada druhe danishye varorjitam danishyepi. When Hiranyakashipu teases the great devotee Prahlad, his own son, who's peaceful and sober and who has no enemy, I shall kill Hiranyakashipu immediately, despite the benedictions of Brahma. Why he says teases? Why he doesn't say harasses?
Let me see.
It's not there in word.
Druyet will commit violence.
Yeah, Prabhupada says teases.
I guess thesis has got different different degrees of heaviness. You know, one could be very
Yeah, like bullying.
light,
Yeah.
and one can be very, very heavy. Yes. So, are we reading?
Purport. Of all sinful activities, an offense to a pure devotee or Vaishnava is the most severe. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is so disastrous that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has compared it to a mad elephant that enters a garden and causes great havoc by uprooting many plants and trees. If one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Brahmana or Vaishnava, his offenses uproot all his auspicious activities. One should therefore very carefully guard against committing Vaishnava pranam or offenses at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Here the Lord clearly says that although Hiranyakashipu had received benedictions from Lord Brahma, these benedictions would be null and void as soon as he committed offenses at the lotus feet of Prahlad Maharaj, his own son. A Vaishnava, like Prahlad Maharaj, is described herein as Nirvaira, having no enemies. Elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25-21, it is said, Ajata Shatravaha Shanta Sadhava Sadhu Bhushanaha. A devotee has no enemies. He's peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. A devotee does not create enmity with anyone, but if someone becomes his enemy, that person will be vanquished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, despite whatever benedictions he may have received from other sources. Hiranyakashipu was certainly enjoying the fruitful results of his austerities, but here the Lord says that as soon as he committed an offense at the lotus feet of Prahlad Maharaj, he would be ruined. One's longevity, opulence, beauty, education, and whatever else one may possess as a result of pious activities cannot protect one if one commits an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Despite whatever one possesses, if one offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he will be vanquished.
Okay, so a few words on this because it's an important definition of a devotee that Ajata Shatrava, he has no enemy, but we see very often devotees have many enemies. It's like even Yudhishthira, his name was Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means
he doesn't see anyone as enemy. That's what it means.
You want to elaborate?
No, I just.
So Ajata Shatru literally means that his enemy was never born. But then we see everybody there in Kurukshetra the whole Kurukshetra war was either to kill him or to defend him because he was the rightful heir of the throne of Hastinapura. So what does it mean that he has no enemy? He has millions of enemies. But first of all, in many cases, he doesn't have personal enemies. Even Duryodhana, I believe he says at one point, okay, capture Yudhishthira, but don't hurt him, right? Because everybody except Yudhishthira is so dharmic that they had no personal enmity. But the point is that sometimes just because of being a devotee or because of acting as a messenger of the Lord, people become very inimical. So even within the Vaishnava community, sometimes people say, no, look, this is a principle which is against Shastras, against Dharma, against the Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and some people become very, very inimical. So does he fit or doesn't he fit? Well, Srila Prabhupada had a lot of enemies, a lot of, we could say, rivals, a lot of opposition, even from his own blood brothers. Huh? So what exactly means, sometimes these are those, just like we said, seeing doesn't mean only seeing with the eyes. So having no enemies, sometimes meaning that you're acting, you're doing your duty, you're not actively creating enemies, but just by the fact that you preach the glories of the Lord, some people will become inimical to you. And we've seen this, we see it all the time.
Yeah, like the other day we were having a conversation. My husband has many enemies and they hate him like anything. And then I was asking about one particular big enemy, and he was like, no, I really wish for this person to go back to Godhead. And And then we were talking about another, and he was saying, no, I really wish well for this person. And I was really like, he's against certain thinking. He's not against the person. And then I understood that it's not that you cannot fight against somebody because they may be upholding a principle which is wrong. But Ajata Shatru basically can also mean, even in astrology, moon is a planet that doesn't see any planet as an enemy. For example, like in the chart, there are enemies, and like Sun sees Saturn as an enemy, and Saturn also sees Sun as an enemy. There's mutual shatrutva, the mutual enmity. But the moon, he just doesn't look at anybody as an enemy. Isn't it interesting? Many planets do see moon as an enemy, like Saturn sees moon as an enemy, but moon doesn't see Saturn as an enemy. So I was just thinking how Ajata Shatru can also mean that it's not that people will not see you as an enemy, but that you don't see anybody as an enemy. I actually recognize that quality in you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. I'm just saying it's possible. I don't have that quality. He has that quality. Next.
Sri Narada Vacha Ityutta Loka Guruna Tam Pranamya Divokasha Nyavartanta Gatodvega Menire Chasuram Mahatham. The great Saint Narada Muni continued. When the Supreme Personality of God, the spiritual master of everyone, thus reassured all the demigods living in the heavenly planets, they offered their respectful obeisances unto him and returned, confident that the demon Hiranyakashipu was now practically dead. So this is another example of seeing. They have not seen the Lord, actually, but they heard from the Lord, and now they see Hiranyakashipu as dead because they have faith, they trust. So the vision has changed. Nothing external changed so far, but because they received words of knowledge from a trusted source, now their mood is different. And they felt confident that the demon would be dead. Purport: the less intelligent men who are always busy worshiping the demigods should know that when the demigods are harassed by the demons, they approach the Supreme Personality of God for relief. Since the demigods resort to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why should the worshippers of the demigods not approach the Supreme Lord for whatever benefits they desire? Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10 says, Akamak sarvakamo va moksha kama udharadhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajjita purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, or whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of God, by rendering transcendental loving service. Whether one is a karmi, jnani, or yogi, if one wants a particular benediction fulfilled, even if it be material, one should approach the Supreme Lord and pray to him, for then it would be fulfilled. There's no need to approach any demigod separately for the fulfillment of any desire. It's interesting. I find interesting how Srila Prabhupada uses all the opportunity to promote devotional service. He says, look, the demigods themselves ask the Lord for blessings, for protection. So why we should go to the demigods? And this is another example. Sometimes devotees speak like this, and people who worship demigods, they become angry. Oh, how can you say this? How can you offend the devatas? No, it's just like that. For devotees, it's not necessary to worship the devatas. Of course, sometimes devotees do that in a tamasic way, and I mean, I know one devotee is no more. He was my dear friend, but he was kind of very almost fanatic. He would walk in India and see somebody worship the devatas, and he would say, I will get all upset, and people couldn't understand. I know one sannyasi, I won't mention the name. one sannyasi whom I respect very much, but apparently he wasn't too familiar with the Madhva theology and practice, because the Madhvas are very closely knitted with Devata worship. Their theology is clear. The Lord is supreme, but these Devatas are the servants. So one day he was there. I wasn't there, but I heard he was there seeing a Brahmana from the Madhva doing some puja, maybe to Shiva or Ganesh. And he said, how can you do this? How can you do that? You're a Madhva, you're a Vaishnava, how can you do that? And I heard that the priest was very confused. What? Yeah, this is what we do, It's just like for us doing Guru Puja. We do Guru Puja, we do Srila Prabhupada Puja in front of Radha Madhava. But we understand Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, a representative of Krishna. Is not God. So for the Madhvas, it's very clear. For them, it's very clear. Okay, I worship Ganesha, I worship Shiva, but obviously they're servants of the Lord. Somehow this Maharaj probably didn't know so well the Madhva scene. And so therefore, I apparently created some agitation. He was agitated and the Pujari was perplexed. Anyway. But again, Srila Prabhupada takes the opportunity. Why worship the Devatas? Just go to Krishna. This is the Bhagavatam. See, Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya himself, they are Bhagavata preachers. So this is the Bhagavatam. Akama sarva kamama. Whatever you want, you may want material desire. Do you go to Krishna?
Yeah, because he purifies and gives us what we need. The demigods may not give us. They may not think all dimensions, the demigods.
Well, sometimes the blessings of the demigods can be very detrimental sometimes, in the sense that maybe that soul doesn't need that for their own spiritual advancement. Okay, can we go on?
Yeah, actually, see, there is a lot of misunderstanding about the demigod worship, because even if you go to Braj, Gopeshwar Mahadev, Kshetrapalak Shiva, Lord Shiva is worshipped as a great devotee. But sometimes I think devotees react to demigod worship in a very tamaguna way. Why you laugh? Comedy moment, as Sujata is saying. Okay, next.
Well, because the problem when the devotees become hateful to the devatas.
Yeah.
And they don't have culture. In fact, in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says that part of devotional service, part of bhakti is never disrespect the devatas. And sometimes some devotees,
Fanatic.
especially from the West, generally, they just they don't understand, so they become kind of inimical or critical to the devatas. We should definitely respect them. We can see how they often see the Lord face to face.
Yeah, and they're also devotees like Durga Devi, Mahadev, Shiva, Ganesh. Yeah.
In the 80s, they were crazy fanatical here. Here meaning where?
UK. Tasya Daityapate Putras. This is Cha, right? Chatvaraha.
Yeah, Chatvara.
Chatvara Paramadbhuta Prahrado Bhunmaham Stesham Gunair Upasakha. Hiranyakashipu had 4 wonderful, well-qualified sons, of whom the one named Prahlad was the best. Indeed, Prahlad was a reservoir of all transcendental qualities because he was an unalloyed devotee of the personality of God. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavat kinshara sarvaye gunais tatra samasate sura. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. Prahlad Maharaj is praised herein for having all good qualities because of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a pure devotee who has no motives has all good qualities, material and spiritual. If one is spiritually advanced, being a staunch liberal devotee of the Lord, all good qualities are manifest in his body. On the other hand, harava bhaktasya kudo mahadguna. If one is not a devotee, even if he has some materially good qualities, they have no value. That is the verdict of the Vedas. Next.
Unless you
Brahmanya.
want to say something.
I mean, I'm just thinking these verses are very relevant for our Vaishnavi Sangha classes that's going to happen soon. These verses, we should make a note of this 7th canto, 4th chapter, verses 20 onwards speaks a lot about different qualities. It's very, very relevant for those of you who are selecting the topics for the present. And yeah, these qualities are, you know what I'm thinking is that sometimes we look at devotees or people who are achieving a lot on an external level, you know, building temples, doing things, big things, and they're big leaders or some, you know, this morning, we were watching old video, Bhagwan Maharaj, you know, old video. It was my husband's ex-spiritual master. Do you say ex? Ex, like ex-husband, ex-spiritual master. Ex-spiritual master of my husband, and was such a powerful person who did so much preaching and made so many devotees and built temples.
Yeah, both properties, farms.
Bought properties and farms and everything. No, so I was looking at him, young, handsome man. He was eating and throwing things into the
1 plus 025G.
Ignore it. And then I asked him, what happened? Why suddenly this person was just gone, just flushed out of ISKCON and nothing? And like, it's just so inconceivable because in my idea, in my mind's eye, if somebody is empowered devotee, is an empowered devotee. But then we see in Srimad Bhagavatam so many times, whether it was Brahma, whether it is Indra, like Hiranyakashipu, of course, now we are seeing him. So many good qualities, right? So many powerful qualities. But then without that attitude, the right attitude, the devotional attitude, and without that realization of the fact that we get the strength from Krishna, Daksha, that Daksha is another character, so powerful. But then it's like, I don't know, I'm really finding it hard to
do what?
To reconcile between somebody being great in their service and then just becoming nothing or get a goat head or have to run away or I don't know.
Because in this world, everything is temporary. Just like the other day, we were saying how sometimes it is said that everybody was a Brahma before, but then, you know, for Brahma, you end up to be a bug.
Brahma to bug.
Everything is temporary. Everything is a dream. So, I mean,
Even in your case, I'm just thinking.
in my case, I became a bug.
No, you didn't become a bug. I know, I mean, you're not attached to positions, but so many positions. And then one day, just because you wrote a book about clarifying proper statements, you're just nobody.
What do you mean I'm nobody? What do you
In the
mean?
sense, they somehow or other forced you or pushed you into giving up positions. And I mean, you're not concerned about it, but I'm just saying every opportunity for you to do all those services that you're doing is gone now. I mean, it's
Well,
a loss for the organization.
Actually, I don't accept this type of perspective that I was forced. I was put in front of a choice if to say remain free in my expression or curb my expression, and I said no, I prefer to remain free, and because my style and contents of my expression were not in line with the
Institutional.
with a certain institutional aspect. So I prefer to say, look, I'm not willing or able to represent the policy of the institution in this particular way, or follow the policy of the institution in this. So better I don't have any official position. Plus, you know, I mean, I was also tired of certain things. Anyway.
I'm just saying that it's interesting for me to. Somebody is like a guru who makes the disciples, and then after a while the person is
Yeah, but
gone.
the time of death, everybody leaves everything, Shirade. No rich man, no guru. I mean, a guru, okay, it's still glorious if he's a good guru. Their type of death at the time of death, but the time of death, 1 year after the time of death, probably won't get another Gaza puja. I'm just saying that's sometimes is it happens in one's own lifetime, huh? Like a rich man loses all the money, remains powerful, or a guru leaves his position and becomes, or sannyasi becomes a grihastha, or even less than that. Okay, and by the time of death, everybody leaves everything. That's why Varnashram, that's why Vedic literature teaches detachment, teaches that we see in the Bhagavatam all the good kings at one point just leave their homes, leave their palace, leave their kingdom, leave their kingdoms to the children, and just go to the forest with nothing, literally nothing.
So what's the most important thing? Cultivate qualities within, right? Not to focus on external achievement. Even Pandu, when he went away to the forest, he almost became nobody. He was an emperor.
See, we need to understand the priority. The principle is service. Now, your service may be to become the king of the world, just like after Kurukshetra, Yudhishthira had so many doubts. They say, oh, because of me, so many women became widows, so many people got killed. He didn't want to become the king. He didn't want. And then even Krishna tried, no, you should become, even Krishna couldn't, he appeared as Krishna, couldn't convince him. And then Bhishma Deva convinced and said, no, look, this is your duty, whatever happened, happened, this is your duty, you have to take the kingdom. So the principle, we need to understand the principle. The principle is we have to fulfill the will of the Lord. Sometimes the will of the Lord is to give us a very powerful, influential position, institutionally, socially, economically. And sometimes the will of the Lord is to ask for us to give an example of detachment. In fact, 36 years after, when Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Krishna left the world, and Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandava left the kingdom because there was Maharaj Parikshit ready to rule, there was no attempt by Krishna or by any pure devotee to stop them. So, and in fact, Srila Prabhupada saying one of those purports that for the Pandavas, their relation with Krishna was more important to say the mundane duties or the other, it doesn't say mundane duties, but other things, other considerations. So they knew, okay, Parikshit is ready, we go, and they leave, just leave everything. So the main thing is to do the will of the Lord, and sometimes we need a position. We need a position to do the will of the Lord, and sometimes we need to relinquish that institutional, social, administrative position to do the will of the Lord. So main thing is to understand when is when. In the Bhagavatam, that's the teaching of the Bhagavatam with Maharaj Yudhishthira. At one point, no, you need to stay, you need to rule. And at one point, okay, you go. There's no complaint, there's no concern. Just, okay.
But in this world, it's so, even amongst association of devotees, sometimes depending on the association, we get so sucked into external achievements and accomplishments.
But sometimes that's our service. It should be our focus. Like, for instance, somebody distributes books, it should be focused. How many books have you distributed? How many sets? So it's not material. Or somebody wants to build a temple. Like many devotees are engaged either as leaders or collectors or members of the community to collect for a temple. So that should be the focus because, yeah, Srila Prabhupada opened temples, bought properties, and sometimes that's the focus. So, yeah, you need money, you need manpower, you need to build a big thing for Krishna. So, main thing is not to become identified or think this is one thing. Okay, I'm a humble servant. Sometimes I do this thing. Just like Maharaj Prithu, who was such a great king, but then when the Kumaras came, he was very, very, very very humble, very subservient, very submissive to them. He washes their feet, and they are not materially. They're nothing. They look like kids. They're nothing. They're not even their clothing, not to speak of crowns or anything. But still, Maharaj Prithu, who is the most powerful emperor, he submits to them. So that's the art, to keep the balance of understanding one's identity as a servant in all circumstances.
I love this point. Sometimes position is required to do the will of the Lord, and sometimes it's not. So the point is not position or no position. The point is the will of the Lord.
Some people may think, oh, I'm very spiritual, I don't take any opposition, but sometimes they're just lazy bums.
Yeah.
They're not willing to do anything for
Even with class.
their
Sometimes
gurus.
people say, I don't want to give class, I am this, that, but actually,
Well, I don't want to, yeah, but yeah.
should
It's like
be.
I remember one devotee, it was an Italian devotee, he came to Mayapur. At that time, there was, the class was in the Lotus building, the conference room. And basically, the Vyasa was the sofa, the English class. Now, it was the sofa, normal sofa. And everybody would sit on the sofa and give the class. There are principles, of course. First of all, people need to see you from everywhere in the room. So if he said, but he gave the class, he sat down under the sofa, not under the sofa, I mean, at the bottom, the foot of the sofa. And he was saying, oh, better to become humble. But the point is, humble or not, you're accepting the service of Bhagavatam. So this seat is not for you, it's because you're speaking the Bhagavatam. So if you don't feel qualified, don't speak the Bhagavatam. Not that you just sit to 2 feet lower, but still you speak the Bhagavatam. Anyway, in other words, sometimes there is no perplexing situations, let's say.
It's a compensation. They don't know, maybe they feel they're not qualified to give class, at least sitting low, they feel compensation for them.
Yeah, they feel, no, now I'm okay. If I sit,
If I make a mistake, it's my fault.
I don't know what they think. I cannot, no, I'm not a telepath. But
I think it also depends on our personality type. An 8 will never sit low like that. Brahmanya Shila Sampanna Satyo Sandhu Jitendriya Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam Eka Priya Sufrutama. This is a difficult word. How do you pronounce?
which one? Dashavat Sannatharyangri.
Trivadhina Vatsala.
Bhratritvat Sadrishi Snigdho.
Gurush Vishwara Bhavana Vidyartha Rupa Janmadhyo Manastambha Vivarjita. The qualities of Maharaj Prahlad, the son of Hiranyakashipu, are described herewith. He was completely cultured as a qualified Brahmana, having very good character and being determined to understand the absolute truth. He had full control of his senses and mind. Like the super soul, he was kind to every living entity and was the best friend of everyone. To respectable persons, he acted exactly like a menial servant to the poor. He was like a father to his equals. He was attached like a sympathetic brother, and he considered his teachers, spiritual masters, and older god brothers to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. Where it says unnatural pride, isn't it natural to feel pride if you have good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy?
Let's see the sense. Completely free from mana, pride, and stamba, impudence. Well, I mean, obviously, because everything is a gift of the Lord, our pride, it's in one sense artificial. It's artificial in the sense unnecessary or exaggerated, like that, in that sense.
Purport. There are some of the
These are.
These are some of the qualifications of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is automatically a Brahmana because Vaishnava has all the good qualities of Brahmana. Shai, right? Shamodham.
Shamadamastapasaucham.
Shamodhamastapashaucham. Kshantirarjavamivacha. Jnanam vijnanam skiptya brahmakarma svabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. 1842 Bhagavad Gita. These qualities are manifest in the body of a Vaishnava. A perfect Vaishnava is also perfect Brahmana, as indicated here by the words of Brahmanya Shila Sampanna. A Vaishnava is always determined to understand the absolute truth. And to understand the absolute truth, one needs to have full control over his senses and mind. Prahlad Maharaj possessed all these qualities. A Vaishnava is always a well-wisher to everyone. The 6 Goswamis, for example, are described in this way. Dhira, dhira, jana, they were popular with both the gentle and the ruffians. A Vaishnava must be equal to everyone, regardless of one's position. Atmavat Vaishnava should be like Paramahatma. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati. Paramatma does not hate anyone. Indeed, he is in the heart of a Brahmana, but he is also even in the heart of a pig. As the moon refuses to distribute
Never refuses.
What did I say?
As the moon refuses.
As the moon never refuses to distribute its pleasing rays even to the home of a Chandala, a Vaishnava never refuses to act for everyone's welfare. Therefore, a Vaishnava is always obedient to the spiritual master, Arya. The word Arya refers to the one who is advanced in knowledge. One who is deficient in knowledge cannot be called Arya. At the present, however, the word Arya is used to refer to those who are godless. This is an unfortunate situation of Kali Yuga. The word Guru refers to the spiritual master who initiates his disciple into advancement in the science of Krishna or Krishna consciousness, as stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Shri Bhagavan Mantropadesha Guru Ityartaha.
Okay, so here there is a very descriptive introduction of Prahlad Maharaj, and you can see how Srila Prabhupada extends to that the perfect devotee also is automatically a perfect Brahmana. And you can see that all these qualities are more than skills, are attitudes. In fact, you can see that when this verse, for instance, Shamodhamastapasucha, there are 3 verses in which Krishna explains the different varnas. One for the Brahmana, one for the Kshatriya, and one for Vaishya and Shudras. And when he talks about Brahmana and Kshatriyas, he talks about qualities, mentalities, attitudes, their being, what they are. And when he talks about Vaishya and Shudra, he talks about what they do.
Wow.
So it's a very different. So here you can see Prahlad Maharaj. These are all attitudinal qualities, mentality, mood. Let's say completely cultural, as a qualified Brahmana, good character, determined to understand the absolute truth. That's a motivation. It's not just, okay, he's expert, he knows so many verses in Sanskrit. He's determined to understand the absolute truth. There's the drive. I want to understand the truth and I want to align with the truth. Full control of his senses and mind. And he was kind to every living entity, acting as a menial servant to the respectable people, father to the poor, equals, to the equals, he was like a brother, very friendly, very
protective,
very, whatever the brother fits for another brother. I don't know, I only have sisters, but I mean, And then his teachers, spiritual master, all the guys are good at the Supreme Personality of God. So, and was free from pride, which we could say tangible things like good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. He had that. He was the king. It was the son of the greatest king in the history. He was beautiful. He was rich, and he had factual training, education, but he was not proud. So you can see that here, these are all quality of the person, of the character, more than skills. It doesn't say, oh, he was good with the sword, and he was good Sanskrit grammarian, or this or that. But that's not what's emphasized here, or in the description of Brahmana Kshatriyas in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so we have 15 minutes to go. Obviously, you're still free to. Okay. Feel free to ask questions or make comments or ask anything to my wife.
Sure.
Did you say to feel free to ask anything about your life?
No, I
Oh.
said ask anything to my wife.
Oh, to your wife. Sorry, I misheard.
7:433. Nodvigna chitto vyasaneshu nispriha sruteshu drishteshu guneshu avastu drik dantendriya pranasharira dhisada prasanta kamo rahita suro sura.
So sweet, Prahlad Maharaj.
Although Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of asuras, he himself was not an asura, but a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Unlike the other asuras, he was never envious of Vaishnavas. He was not agitated when put into danger, and he was neither directly nor indirectly interested in the fruitive activities described in the Vedas. Neither directly or indirectly interested in the fruitive activities described in the Vedas. Indeed, he considered everything material to be useless, and therefore he was completely devoid of material desires. He always controlled his senses and life here, and being of steady intelligence and determination, he subdued all lusty desires. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, from this verse we discover that a man is not qualified or disqualified simply by birth. Prahlad Maharaj was an asura by birth, yet he possessed all the qualities of a perfect Brahmana. Brahmanya Shila Sampannaha. Anyone can become a fully qualified Brahmana under the direction of a spiritual master. Anyone can become a fully qualified Brahmana under the direction of a spiritual master. This is a very, very powerful statement, very good idea, very follower of Lord Chaitanya, very anti-caste system, very much Prabhupadism, Srila Bhakti Siddhantism. It's really a core idea. And Bhagavatam, of course. Prahlad Maharaj provided a vivid example how to think of the spiritual master and accept this direction calmly. I was smilingly reading this because I remember once in some Jehovah Witness publication, they wanted to put down Krishna. So they say, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that among the demons, I'm Prahlad. So therefore, this very intelligent preachers, they say, you see, Krishna says among the demons, I'm Prahlad, therefore he is a demon. Krishna is a demon.
Oh my God.
That was the argument. No, sometimes you have religious groups who try the best to put down other religious groups, especially Vaishnavism. And
Amazing.
I remember, for instance, Japtaka Maharaj was saying about a local Islamic preacher, that he was very forceful, and he would just say, Allah Akbar, Allah. and then he made and this was, I think, in Mayapur, or locally, and then he made a little stick figure picture of Gornitai, right? Like dancing, like imagine stick figure dancing, okay? The Gornitai stick figure dancing. And then he took those lines and he wrote in Arabic something different, like Allahu Akbar. And then he said, Allahu Akbar. It's like if he could turn Gornitai stick figure into something different, then he would have defeated the philosophy. Or so, and Maharaj was saying, well, what kind of argument is that? What kind of argument is that? It's like if you say say a cross. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they do that.
Take a cross and then turn the cross into a Sanskrit word and say, you see. It's like, what doesn't mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
See, Christianity is defeated.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Anyway, sometimes people use this quote unquote arguments. Of course, they are ridiculous, but sometimes people just, because of the enthusiasm they have, the conviction, the strength, and also, how can you argue against? How can you argue? It's like, you turn a Gornitai into some Islamic, some Arabic mantra, then okay, you win. It's like okay. But Prahlad Maharaja, this is very, very important. This, sorry if I repeat, but anyone can become fully qualified Brahmana under the direction of a spiritual master. You may be surprised or not surprised to know that there is a movement within our movement who says that women should not become Brahmanas, should not be initiated as Brahmanas. There is the whole current of thinking. For instance, they say, if you want to get into it, I can speak more, let me know. But they say that the first time the women were initiated as Brahmanas, which is in May 1968 in Boston, it only happened because the women threatened Srila Prabhupada that if Srila Prabhupada will not give a second initiation, they will just walk away from ISKCON and they would just reject Srila Prabhupada. So under this threat, Srila Prabhupada was kind of forced to give second initiation. And I studied the whole thing. I studied the written testimonials from men, from women. I heard YouTube, and it's completely false. It's completely false. No man and no woman ever says that they complained to Srila Prabhupada, or even they requested the second initiation, or even threatened anything. There's nothing like that. Nothing in the historical record. But
and that too, Prabhupada we're talking about.
yeah, of course, and then Srila Prabhupada, because a few girls will become upset that he'll change the philosophy, he'll change the system of education, of initiation. It's absurd. But
care.
I wrote a book recently. I put the whole chapter on this particular event, and it's amazing how much fabrications are made on that episode. And they say, no, but you need to understand that Srila Prabhupada did certain things for emergency. So in this case, he was so much under pressure, he had to do it. But actually, first of all, there is no evidence of any type of pressure from anybody, first of all. And second, he maintained those exact standards, giving the 7 mantras of the second initiation in the same way to women as well as men for more than 9 years. So where is the emergency? Emergency means what? 1 month, 1 year, or something. How can he do for more than 9 years, from May 68 to November 77, maintain the same standards? And how can you call that an emergency?
Right.
So there are very, I would say, interesting theories floating around in ISKCON. Very interesting. And sometimes they're based on nothing.
Patriarchy alive and well.
Yeah, that's patriarchy, but there is also kind of healthy patriarchy, meaning when the man takes responsibility, he takes his job as a householder seriously. This is pathological. The battery is
It's
almost
okay,
off.
we have to.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? It's
5
not
minutes.
going off?
5 minutes.
So this is like a pathological chauvinism. It's not mean. It's even insulting to patriarchy. Call it patriarchy. And it's based on nothing. I tell you, there is absolutely
basis, no
no
philosophical
evidence.
basis.
Not only philosophical, no historical basis. No man like Brahmananda Maharaj
Yeah.
or Satsarup Maharaj was there, or no woman like Govinda Dasi, the husband of Govinda Dasi. Nobody says anything even closer to that. Okay, should we do one more verse?
Yeah. In 5 minutes we have. Unless they have any questions or something.
Yasmin Mahat Guna Rajan Grihante Kavibirmuhu Nati Dhuna Vidiyante Yata Bhagavateshware. O King, Prahlad Maharaj, good qualities are still glorified by learned saints and Vaishnavas. As all good qualities are always found existing in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also exist forever in his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. Very interesting how Narada Muni 5,000 years ago, he was already preaching to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and Prahlad Maharaj was already a hero, was already an idol for everybody already 5,000 years ago. Now all over the world, you see, we're talking about Prahlad Maharaj. From authoritative scriptures, it is learned that Prahlad Maharaj still lives in Vaikuntha Loka, as well as within this material world on the planet Sutala. This transcendental quality of existing simultaneously in different places is another qualification of the Supreme Personality of God. Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuta. The Lord appears in the core of everyone's heart, yet he exists on his own planet, Goloka Vrindavan. The devotee acquires qualities almost the same as those of the Lord because of an alloyed devotional service. Ordinary living beings cannot be so qualified, but a devotee can be qualified like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but not in full, but partially. Was it chat something?
Temple president in UK, now it's a woman.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, in the US, there are at least 4 or 5 temple presidents. Even the temple president, the largest community, Alachua,
It's also
woman, and then Chicago, last time I heard, was a woman. Tucson.
But in India, women can't give Bhagavatam class sitting on Vyasasana anywhere else except Mayapur.
Well, not. It's not literally like that. I mean,
Yeah, she can't sit on the Vyasasana.
I don't know if that's her choice or anyway, whatever.
She can't sit on the Vyasasana.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mayapur is the only place where a woman can sit on the Vyasasana and give Bhagavatam class.
But we don't know that literally. There are so many places.
Anyway, in ISKCON, I know that.
I'm saying this. Anyway, but the general, maybe literally may not be always exact, but in general, yes, women are not encouraged to give Bhagavatam class or take administrative roles, which is a great loss for ISKCON. There's something in the chat. Indian marriage mentality needs to change. Organizations like Brahma Kumaris have successfully mobilized women. True. That's why I say it's a great loss. There's so much potential in every human being, and just based on gender, one creates this absurd stratification. It's just not intelligent. It's just such a loss for the ISKCON. Such a loss because we failed to engage talent, and also we probably failed to attract talent, Because so many women seeing this, why should I be considered a second-class citizen? Why, you have the president of the country is a woman. There are chief ministers, women, there are central ministers, women, and then in UNESCO, in all India, we don't have any temple president. That's kind of unusual, atypical, or anomalous, especially as everyone is meant to be a soul. And these males were once women in other lifetime.
And we are going
Ironic.
to, everybody sings into, yesterday, somebody was saying, when Prabhu was saying, I don't go to Tulsi Arti because then in the song it says, I want to become maid servant. I can never.
Who was saying that?
Some
Really?
Prabhu, that Prabhu.
Really?
Saying that I don't go to Tulsi Arti because I can't even imagine.
So with
being a
this
woman.
gem of wisdom, we can close today. Thank you very much for your patience and participation.
I mean, because this person was saying, I'm man. I said, Krishna is the only Purusha. Everybody else is just woman, Prakriti. No. Then I can't, that's why I don't go to Tulsi Arti also. And I was like, amazing. Okay. So, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You don't have a problem,
Really?
right? To think that.
Really? No. No, you were.
That's also true. We all start life in the womb as a female for the first 3 months. But you don't have any problem, right? To pray to be a maid servant in the spiritual world.
That's the highest position.
Oh.